Hello and welcome to Tech Alert. It is our mission to bring you all the latest stories regarding new technologies and their impact.
Today, we'll be talking about net neutrality.
Recently, internet providers have been storming the Capitol trying to make regulation against net neutrality. They want to eliminate the concept of the open internet, meaning that one day, small startups and large companies may have to compete for equal information. Eventually, this could lead to a world where we have to buy a package from our internet provider separately just to use websites like YouTube.
Since the early 2000s, internet users like you and I have been fighting to keep an open internet. In 2012, over 7 million people signed a petition to stop the Stop Online Piracy Bill, or SOPA, that was being pushed through legislation. It would have been the first step toward ending net neutrality if that bill had passed.
But the fight continues. More recently, web streaming giant Netflix has come out arms swinging in support of net neutrality. The online movie mogul has much to gain from an open internet. Comcast claims that because Netflix takes up so much bandwidth on their servers that they should pay extra money. Netflix disagrees, claiming that it is Comcast's duty to have enough server space for all of their traffic. Comcast has responded by throttling the speeds of Netflix's servers, which in turn made it very hard to watch their videos. Tyler, what do you think about Comcast throttling Netflix's services?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, honestly, because Netflix uses a large amount of Comcast's bandwidth, which is limited, although they'd have a lot of it. So it makes sense for Comcast to be asking Netflix to pay them money, which they did, a large undisclosed amount. But at the same time, if that happens and becomes a regular thing, then companies like Netflix or Amazon or Apple and Google, large internet companies with lots of money, will stand to benefit, while small companies that want to become the next Twitter or the next Facebook aren't going to be able to compete because they won't have the money to pay providers like Comcast in order to ensure that their internet speeds are comparable to the bigger ones.
You think the FCC should make any more actions towards net neutrality and a free internet for all of us?
Oh, definitely. There's been a long history of some broken regulations and some wrong words around net neutrality. There was actually a law a few years ago that stated that net neutrality was an intrinsic part of the internet, but that was repealed due to some wrong words. And recently, Tom Wheeler, who's the commissioner of the FCC, created a new rule, more or less, that establishes the FCC and him in particular as the gatekeeper of what is commercially viable and trying to take advantage of something and is not. So we definitely need some regulation there.
Earlier in April, Esquire magazine wrote an article exposing former FCC chairman Meredith Baker, who was about to push Comcast's merger with Time Warner Cable. This merger would effectively monopolize the already limited internet service provider market. Once again, Netflix voiced its concerns, saying that the merger possesses anti-competitive leverage. It is possible that Netflix may raise prices to offset the money that will have to pay for speed tolls to internet service providers.
What a shame. How is this possible?
It's a revolving cycle. A recent Ars Technica article calls it the revolving door. FCC chairmen step down and become the CEOs of lobbying groups, and the CEOs step up to become FCC chairmen.
Man, that sounds like something out of House of Cards. Who's the current FCC chairman?
The current chair is held by Tom Wheeler, who by chance happens to be a former lobbyist himself. On April 24th, he came out to defend the newest law that the FCC is trying to pass. The new law would effectively create 2 lanes for internet traffic, one high speed and one low speed. The high speed lane would be more expensive, and the low speed would be cheaper. This enraged internet activists because such legislation would make it extremely difficult for smaller web services to compete with the larger, wealthier companies.
What can we as citizens do to prevent this from happening?
Well, you could start by sending an email to Wheeler. While it is unlikely you will have a change of heart, it certainly will make him look bad if he gets a ton of emails that condemn his actions. Next, you should sign up with an internet activist group. They will keep you updated on the newest laws, as well as inform you of protests and petitions you can participate in. I would suggest signing up for demandprogress.org. They are a really great organization, and they have a lot of campaigns fighting for net neutrality. Finally, one of the last things you can do is write your congressman. This is very important. The FCC is almost a lost cause at this point. Our only hope is to go straight to our representatives. If we do not act now, it will be possible that we lose the open internet as we know it.
Definitely. My final question is, what are other countries doing about this? Have other foreign nations invested anything in the U.S.'s open internet policy?
The European Union has already made legislature assuring net neutrality. The U.S. is far behind them. It is sad, really. America used to be the greatest supporter of democracy in the world, but it seems more and more like an oligarchy. When we have lobbyists controlling the FCC, we are essentially giving control of our best tool of democracy to people that want to use it for their own profit. For some reason, people aren't doing anything about it. Laws are just slipping by and Americans are barely batting an eye.
Give it some time, though. Once people start getting their internet bills, the outrage will commence.
Thank you for joining us at Tech Alert.
And we'll see you next week. You stay classy, Rutgers.